Greetings and welcome to part 8 of the trumpet series. This is encompassing for essential elements the red belt for band karate. We're going to be looking at pages 24 through 28. This is a pretty long section. There's only 2 belt songs for this one, 132 and 150, but there are a lot of concepts in here. And a lot of exercises in here. So let's get right into it. So on page 24 at the very top it says special trumpet exercise lip slurs. Okay, so we've done slurs, which basically you keep blowing the air, you don't tongue, and you move your finger. The same principle, except now you do that with your lips. Okay? My air keeps going, and I just release some tension to go lower, or gain some tension, or aim my air upwards to go higher. Some people like to use the syllable, like ah-ee, ah-ee, ah-ee. Your tongue arches up so that it compresses the air a bit more to get those different tones. The lip slurs are fantastic. One of the best exercises you can do on the trumpet are lip slurs, and you can do them really high. And it's one of those exercises you really can't overdo too much. So have some fun with it. See how high you can get with those, but always don't hurt yourself. That is always the thing we like to say here. So looking at 119, it says Granadilla Gorilla Jump number 1. It goes from an A to an E. All you need for this one is valves 1 and 2. The whole thing is valves 1 and 2. When you have that slur from the A to the E, that means you're going to keep blowing. We don't want to go... We don't want to tongue those. We want it very smooth. Alright, so here's 119. We're going to skip over 120. 121 is a little tricky because the G, normally you would go G to D, open to 1 and 3. But you can actually play G, 1 and 3. Same note. So there's your lip slur. 121 is... 123, Granadilla Gorilla Jump number 3, is using B flat, you have that flat sign at the beginning, to F. So it's all first valve. Now the in-between numbers at 120, 122, 124 are fun to do. You don't have to. Those are basically using the lip slurs in a musical context or adding extra notes. For instance, 120. Giving you a little extra notes. Looking over, let's look at number 130. This is high D. Whoa. So this is your next highest note. High D is first valve, like your regular F, like your B flat. It's the next one up. So we have F, B flat, B. So 130, C, D, C, A, C, A, G, C, D, B flat, D, B flat, G, B flat, A, G, F. There are no slurs from that D to the B flat, so you can tongue those. Turning the page. 126. We're going to look at our first red belt song. 132, Michael rowed the boat ashore. So this one has those first and second endings. If you remember back in the green belt, we had first and second endings on high flying and up on a housetop. That'd be 76 and 78. So that means you go beginning to the repeat sign, and in this case you go back to the top repeat sign, and then you go to the end, but you skip the one section. Alright? So some people ask, what about the first two notes in the beginning? Well, you don't repeat those because those are outside of that first repeat sign. Okay, so let's look at this. I'll sing part of it first. F, A, C, A, C, D, C, A, C, D, C, A, C, C, A, B flat, A, G, F, G, A, G, F, F, A, repeat, C, A, C, D, C, A, C, D, C, A, C, C, A, B flat, A, G, F, G, second ending, A, G, F. And again, you notice that little eyeball above that last note. For mata, or a hold, it means you hold that last note longer than you normally would. Alright, let's turn the page, because there's really nothing too much new. Well, one more thing. Look at on page 26, halfway through the page, it says time signature C. It means common time. It's the same as 4/4, because 4 beats in a measure is the most common time signature you'll see. So whenever you see that, 4/4. Okay, page 28. At the top it says a scale. A scale is a sequence of notes in ascending or descending order, like a musical ladder. Each step is the next consecutive note in the key. The scale in your key of C, no sharps and flats, so the top and bottom notes are both C's. The interval between the C's is called an octave. So basically what you need to know is you go from what the scale is called for you, a C scale. You start on the C, you end on the C, and you play all the notes in between. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, don't worry about flats and sharps for now. In the key for your C scale, you have no sharps or flats. It's all natural notes. You notice that 147 is called the concert B flat scale, but you don't have any flats. Here's the reason for that. This is called a B flat trumpet. So it's designed to play really well for most people. Okay, but you have a flute which is in the key of C. When they play a B flat, and if you play a B flat against their B flat, it sounds yucky. But if you play a C against their B flat, it sounds perfect. It's the same note. Other notes that are called B flat instruments would be the clarinet. If you play a C and the clarinet plays a C, it sounds great. If a clarinet and a trumpet play a C, and all of a sudden we invite a flute to play a C, it sounds yucky. Okay, they will need to play a B flat. It goes even crazier when you talk about saxophones. So it's called an E flat instrument, so that your C sounds like their G. Whoa. Okay? Weird. But for now, all I need to know is that a B flat concert scale is your C scale. You play a C scale. When someone says play a B flat concert scale, you play a C. Okay. So here is a C scale. 147. That's the scale. Looking at 148, it says chord and arpeggio. So when you play 3 notes at the same time, you get a chord. You can't play 3 notes at the same time on a trumpet. Okay, but if you have 3 trumpet players, you can have someone play that low C in 48, someone play the E, and someone play a G, and it'll sound really good. Okay, it's called a chord when you have 2 or more notes played together. An arpeggio is when you skip notes. So C, and then you skip the D, go to E, skip the F, play the G. That would be called an arpeggio. Okay, and you play 1 note at the same time. Looking at 149, it says scale and arpeggio. You notice that the first two measures is the C scale, or the B flat concert scale, you can call it. Then the third measure is an arpeggio. You skip notes. Then in the middle, you go down the scale, and you go up the arpeggio. Is your last red belt song. It is themed from Surprise Symphony by Franz Joseph Haydn, also nicknamed Papa Haydn. He was a bit of a jokester. So notice that the beginning is piano, that P, okay, that's under the F there. That means that you play quietly. Notice that in the middle, it goes to forte with an accent. Remember that accent means to punch the note. That means you play that one note loud, then it goes back to piano. So the reason Haydn did that is because people used to fall asleep during his concerts. And, you know, he decided to have a little joke on them. So what he did is he would have everyone playing boom, 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 really quiet. And all of a sudden he would go boom with one loud note to wake everybody in the audience up. And then he'd go back to quiet. And he would have some fun seeing who jumped in their seat. There was another story. He had the Farewell Symphony where he wanted a break. The musicians had gone months and months without any time off. So he made and the prince said no. So what Papa Haydn did was he made a piece where throughout the symphony, one instrument at a time would blow out his candle, because he didn't have electricity then, and leave the stage. So at the end there was only one person. And the prince luckily had a sense of humor and gave them some time off. So Papa Haydn was a pretty neat guy. So here's the theme from Surprise Symphony. Notice it's andante, that slow walking tempo. Common time, which means 4 beats in every measure. Notice there's a B flat, which means all your B's are first finger flat. With the exception of when you see a natural sign, which you will, the second measure from the end of the first line. Okay? So just be aware. So those are the red belt songs. Now, looking back, there are a whole lot of things I skip in here. Just for the purpose, of this video, you can really play any of those. There's a lot of really good ones, but they're all really exercises. 126 is kind of nice. Notice you have an F sharp in the key signature, so B natural. So you're using that B natural to F sharp lip slur. Looking at the next page, on page 26, the Austrian Waltz is a lot of fun. B flat, 3/4 time. I also like 142, the Saints Go Marching Again. That has first and second endings. Any of the songs in here are really good to do, but those are the main ones that I think are important to give you those essential skills. Thank you. Have fun.